Hello, and welcome to Legacy Insights. Today what I have for you are some knives that I've used. I'm going to go over how I use them, how I carry them, and the reason behind how and why I employ them the way that I do. Starting off, we have the K-Bar TDI. K-Bar, more famously known for their USMC knives, has made a concealment knife, or a smaller blade, I should say, in conjunction with TDI, which is the Tactical Defense Institute based out of Ohio. And they came up with this smaller blade for more defensive situations. As you can see here, the blade is about 2 inches. The overall length is closer to 5 inches. And it really gives you a good foundation for either concealed or overt carry, depending on what you're trying to run. It can do both. I've had this blade for several years now. It's one of the first blades of this type that I've bought and carried over the years. And I've done some aftermarket purchases for it, particularly the sheath that it comes with. It's this plastic sheath with this belt clip, and this is the one that it originally comes with. I didn't like it as much. It orients the blade up on your body when you're wearing it in the belt. This definitely works better in a vest or a plate carrier application where you're trying to draw upwards. So I ended up purchasing instead this sheath, which is an Armatus carry sheath, which is a great company that makes really good quality sheaths based down in Florida. You should definitely check them out. They have tons of different products for a bunch of different knives. If you're in the market for a different way to carry your knife, this is definitely a good option. It comes with a pull the dot strap. So this goes underneath your belt loop and it snaps in place. The way that you disconnect it, you have to actually pull at an angle from the bottom of this dot. There's a little dot right here that tells you where it is on the actual button. That's the only way you can take that thing out. You also have to place it in the reverse order back in here. You can't pull this thing out of here unless you have it pulling from the dot, hence the name. I like this orientation better on my belt. It keeps it kind of in line with the belt. It doesn't stick out as much as if I had it this way, poking out. It still does a little bit, but not as much. And I can employ it with my right hand in the traditional punch method, or with my left hand, I can pull it out and have it come from underneath. It's a very good blade overall. I've carried it a lot for different uses. Nowadays, I normally just carry it if I'm doing an EDC, going out, and I want something very minimalist that doesn't print too often and still has a really good sized traditional blade on there. So this thing retails right now for about $68. And if you're in the market for a new blade, I think it's a very good option. The really cool thing about it is the design. It's curved forward like that, so you can kind of punch with it. That's what it's meant for anyway, and keep you from losing control or grip of the blade itself when you are doing that stab punch motion. So again, it's a super convenient. and super easy to use option to get into it, especially if you're just starting out. Next in the lineup is the ShivWorks Push Dagger. This blade is pretty similar to the K-bar in that it's intended for punching, stabbing, not for slashing. It does have a blade at the bottom. However, its most effective use is from the tip here with the punch striking motion. The handle is definitely more comfortable than the K-bar, so I would actually consider this an upgrade from the K-bar in that it's easier to grab and to maintain control of than the K-bar itself. It's an ambidextrous hold. You can also orient the blade through the pinky instead, depending on how you have your sheath oriented. If you prefer left hand or right hand deployment, you can still technically deploy it with either hand. You'll just have it go through your pinky and your ring finger instead of your index and middle finger. And you don't really lose that comfort that you get in that proper hold with it. The blade itself is about 2¼ inch long. The overall length is the same as the K-bar, it's about 5 inches. So you're not really making any sacrifices in terms of space, because it's taking up the same amount of space on your kit or on your belt, wherever it is that you typically would wear something like this. This would be another good option for your carrier. It also goes on your belt. The way I have it, I have it oriented on my left, for my left hand side, another pull the dot sheath here, and this is the sheath that it comes with from the manufacturer, from ShivWorks. Overall, it's a very good quality blade. It's very well built. It's extremely solid. You can really feel the high quality manufacturing process when you deploy the blade and you hold it in your hands. It's extremely comfortable. Again, this could also be used in an EDC configuration or a covert or hidden. And it does tend to print a little bit. There might be other sheaths out there or other carry methods that would better work for that intended purpose. However, this to me is more of an overt carry blade that you would wear on your battle belt or on your plate carrier. The next one we got is another product from ShivWorks. This is the Clinch Pick 2.0. This is a very unique blade in that the actual bladed edge is on the top spine of the blade instead of on the bottom. Right, so it's a reverse blade, so to speak. The reason for this is because this blade is more for grapple situations when you're being pinned down and your arms are at your side. The way that the sheath is oriented, the way that it's carried, it's like this. If your arms are being pinned down, you can grab it, you can rotate your hips or pull away to deploy it. And if you have somebody holding down on your wrist, you can bring the blade up and pull with it to try to create that space so you can get to a more lethal tool. to deal with the issue. The blade itself, you can see it's not very big. It's about 2 inches. Again, about another 5-inch overall length here. The handle itself is extremely ergonomic. It's almost egg-shaped, which fills the hand extremely well despite it being so small, where you can get a very nice solid grip on here. And this thing will not slip out from your hands, whether it's wet from sweat or you get blood on it. It'll stay there. You'll have a good positive control of that blade no matter what. So you can tell some of the finish here is coming off. That's normal. They coat this thing in some, I believe it's some sort of plastic coating to reduce the shine on the actual blade itself. But with use on the sheath, taking it in and out, it starts to rub off. Not really an issue for me. I don't really care about that. As long as the blade works and does what it's supposed to do, that's everything else is secondary to that. This is the sheath that it comes with. Another pull-a-dot. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a very big fan of pull-a-dot and the way that this is used, especially for belt. However, I do carry this on an overt capacity as well, just because I really like the aspect of being able to have that ability to take off an attacker from me without having to use or having to go to another system, especially if my arms are being held in place. The last blade on the list is the Benchmade SOCP Dagger. This blade length is about 3¼ inches long, so I believe it's the longest one out of all the ones I've shown so far. And it's definitely got the longest overall length at 7¼ inches. This blade offers a true ambidextrous deployment. I typically don't conceal carry this one. This is a plate carrier only carry for me, and I like to keep it on my strong side. And I carry it there for multiple reasons. Typically, if you get into an engagement where someone in a close quarters scenario tries to take your rifle from you, the best course of action, in my opinion, is to grab the barrel on your poor hand and try to pin that rifle as close to you as possible, where you have the best purchase area and the best leverage to do so. So if you try doing that with your strong hand from the pistol grip, that thing can be leveraged out of your hand and you can lose control of it. So I take the barrel, I bring it close to myself, and with my right hand, I deploy the dagger, depending on whether or not I want to deploy it with my index finger for a downward striking motion, or I can also deploy it with my pinky finger and flip it for a straight on striking motion. Depending on what the situation is, that is the best way that I have found to keep control of your primary firearm, engage the threat, make that space so you can either re-engage with that primary or engage with your secondary. Now, another reason I like this dagger is the design. I can have it and I could still deploy my secondary and shoot perfectly fine with it. Whether it be on my strong side or on my support side, I can always shoot. It does not hinder you from shooting your weapon. That's all we have today at Legacy Insights. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next encounter.